Despite a constrained and competitive operating environment, Netcare has reported improved earnings for the 6 months to end March. The group said increased activity and operational efficiencies boosted the performance, and it continues to make strong progress across all its strategic projects. We get further insight into that performance now with Netcare CEO Richard Friedland. Thank you so much for your time, Richard. Now, just to get some context, just talk to us about the impact of the Easter holidays and how exactly it affects the numbers in the two halves.
Well, it flattered us somewhat because last year, Easter, where traditionally a lot of people take time out or take a holiday, and it often coincides with school holidays, happened in March, would have been the last month of our 6-month period. And this year, fortunately, happened in April. So we did see a boost from our 6 months due to the seasonality of that, and also growth in other patient days from other reasons as well.
All right. Well, talk to me about the level of growth right now and also really how it speaks to the evolving dynamics in healthcare demand.
Well, there's a very strong demand for healthcare, and as we showed in the slides and presentation this morning, there is still a very significant burden of disease. In fact, what is very alarming is we showed some statistics from a large medical aid, which demonstrated that the incidence of renal disease, for instance, cancer and mental health is rising very significantly, and it's not just in the aging population. We're seeing an explosion of cancer and other diseases in younger people as well. And then, of course, aging plays a role because, as we showed this morning, the pensioner ratio, in other words, those patients over 60 versus, or those members over 60 versus those younger, is increasing for medical schemes. And the cost of an admission of a patient over 60 is substantially higher, anywhere between 125 to 185% that of a person of 40 years old. So age and the burden of chronic diseases is playing a very significant role within the healthcare environment in South Africa and probably globally as well.
That's actually a very interesting stat. And of course, we have seen younger people actually, a lot of them deciding to either stay away from medical aid or to go for other cheaper alternative options, of course, really speaking to a constrained consumer. Now, just looking at the behavior of a constrained consumer, where are consumers pulling back the most here?
I think consumers and the broader public are very constrained at the moment, given the tight macroeconomic and challenging environment we have. There's no nice way of putting it, and I think people are looking to cut costs wherever they can, particularly save on disposable income. And unfortunately today, and I want to say this in the nicest word possible, Zinati, given the pressures within the public sector and the collapse that we're seeing in some major institutions, the inability to pay doctors, the refusal to pay for overtime, the maintenance and other challenges they're facing. You know, people who are employed can hardly afford not to be on a medical aid, albeit a low network or cheaper option.
Yeah. I mean, in this evolving landscape, then, where are Netcare's next growth opportunities in what you call a constrained and competitive environment?
As you know, we're not investing in bricks and mortar. We haven't been doing that since 2018, with the exception of Netcare Alberton. We are expanding in mental health. Unfortunately, it is now one of the top 3 ranking causes of disability in South Africa and globally. There really is a pandemic of mental health challenges. But our biggest focus is around digitization, data, and the analytics thereof, which will allow us to engage with patients in a very meaningful way, and also to reduce the ultimate cost of care in a way that does not compromise patient outcomes or the quality of care. And that's what we demonstrated today. We're a number of case studies that we've been able to achieve. So most of the investment we're putting forward, besides maintenance of our facilities, repairs and maintenance, which is about 4% of our revenue, close on 1.5 billion rand, will go in to data and data analytics and the continued evolvement of AI and its use in improving patient care, really.
Well, we do have to wrap up the conversation there, but thank you so much for your time and really breaking down those numbers for us, and also just outlining our growth opportunities for Netcare and the trends that are playing out in that space. That was Netcare CEO Richard Friedland.